Hi, today, my name is Eli. Today we're going to be doing a skull trigger. We have 4 projections that we're going to be doing. We have a lateral, a AP axial Towns method, a PA axial Caldwell method, and our SMV Schuler method. So, doing these 4 projections, I will show you room setup, or tube setup. So before we get started, I am going to set up our room. Since our patient will, under lateral projection, his face will be touching our bucky. I want to make sure that I clean it thoroughly. We'll also be using 10 by 12 IRs. So we have our 10 by 12 IR. And it's just easier projections for our patient to be sitting, so we have a chair and shielding already set up. So now that our room is set up, I'm going to go get my patient. Hi, Mr. Wong.
Yes.
My name is Eli. I am going to be doing from radiology. So we're going to be doing some images of your skull today.
Okay.
Can you give me your birthday
August 8th, 1990.
and your full name?
Ben Wong.
Ben Wong. And since this is radiation, any chance of or possibility of pregnancy?
No.
No. Great. So would you like to follow me over here? I'm going to go ahead and get set up. What has been any symptoms that you've been having?
I just fell a trip on my
You fell?
Yeah.
Okay. Any headaches or?
Yeah.
Go ahead and just take a seat. First, we're gonna get you. I'm gonna have you put this shield on. A little heavy. Let's put that on you. We'll go ahead and take a seat. So we're just gonna start with marker placement, so we don't forget. Our tube is 40 inches, so we want to make sure that we keep our detented 40 inches, nice and detented. Mr. Wong, I'm going to scoot you forward, okay? And we're going to kind of turn you a little bit because I need this. Let's go ahead and remove your glasses as well. I'll take those from here. So we want to make sure that our patient has no artifacts on, earrings, glasses, dentures of that nature. They will show up in the x-ray. So go ahead and turn your shoulder towards me. And we're going to just kind of place your side of your cheek right on the IR there. So for our lateral projection, we want to make sure our central ray is 2 inches superior to the EAM and mid-sagittal to the IR. Interpulmonary line, which is up here, and the IOML line, we want to make sure those are both perpendicular to the IR. So we're just going to bring your chin down, Mr. Wong. Can you close your eyes for me? So we're just going to make sure central ray is 2 inches. EM. So we'll adjust our wall bucky as well. Reposition our marker. It's pretty good there. So we can collimate. So we want to make sure that we are in a landscape position. So we're just going to open that up. Make sure we get. So we just want to make sure we have light on both sides. So since we are, so I'm going to have them come forward just a little bit. Now we have light on both sides. We have light cut the bottom. And I could probably actually even collimate a little tighter in. There we go. So we're going to do a technique of about 85 kV to about 6 to 8 mass. So Mr. Wong, I'm going to have you just hold your breath. I'll tell you when, okay? Mr. Wong, hold your breath. X-ray. You can relax, Mr. Wong. So now that I'll run my film. So we are there. Our next one will be an AP axial Towns method. So, Mr. Wong, can you go ahead and stand up for me? We're going to reposition your chair. Go ahead and take a seat back down again. For this one, we're going to change our direction of we're now in a portrait. Also, since this is an axial projection, we are 30 degrees caudal angle. So I'll go ahead and raise our tube. And that's 30 degrees there. Central ray is 2.5 inches but superior to the glabella, which is about right here. So we want to make sure our central ray is there. We'll get Mr. Wong as close as possible to the IR. Bring his chin down just a bit. There we go. Mr. Wong, go ahead and close your eyes for me. And we also just want to make sure he's centered. So we're just going to up there. Again, we want to adjust our bucky. Reposition our marker, make sure it's out of the anatomy. And for our AP axial Towns, we are at an 85, about 14 to 16 mass. So again, Mr. Wong's going to just hold his breath. So we're going to suspend respiration. Mr. Wong, hold your breath. X-ray. So we'll go ahead and run that film. And then while we're doing it, we'll position for our next one. Mr. Wong, go ahead and can you stand up for me? Watch your head. So the next one was a PA axial position, our Caldwell method. So we're actually gonna have him turn around, and I'm gonna reposition his. Go ahead and. Reposition your shield since our photon rays are going to be coming from the back now. So go ahead, Mr. Wong, go ahead and take a seat. Watch your head. I'm going to scoot you forward. For our Caldwell position, we want the forehead and nose rested on the bucky. So go ahead and come forward for me. We're going to slightly dip the chin down. And we're at, now for this position, we're at 15 degrees, so we can come back 15. And our centroid is going to exit the nasion, which is right in between the eyes. So we'll come back down. We want to make sure that we're nasion. Centered. So nasion centered to the IR. Our mid-sagittal plane is perpendicular, and our OML is perpendicular to the IR. We go ahead and let's readjust our marker. And actually, I'm going to kind of bring them towards me a little bit so we're just more centered. That's good there. And we can call them a side to side. So we have a nice border around. So for our Caldwell method, it's the same as our Towns. It's 85, about 14 to 16 mass. One more check just to make sure that we're exiting the nasion. Looks good. So I'm just going to come up a bit. Make sure our bucky's centered. Adjust the marker. Mr. Wong, go ahead and just hold your breath. X-ray. So our next image is, or you can relax, Mr. Wong. Our next image is going to be our SMV Schuler method. Again, using a 10 by 12 portrait. This one takes a little bit of flexibility on the patient's part. This is because we have to put them in a little bit of a curious position. But we do want to make sure that our central ray is perpendicular to the IOML, and that it also passes through the throat between the gonian and the anterior point 3/4 anterior, the EAM. So Mr. Wong, go ahead and can you stand up for me again? And again, we're going to go ahead and reposition the shielding. Go ahead and take a seat. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and take a seat, Mr. Wong. Go ahead and sit down. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull this chair away from the IR. That's all good. And then our tube angle is going to go back to perpendicular. We don't need an angle, please. So I'm going to try to set up as much as possible before I get our patient into this position. So go ahead, Mr. Wong, go ahead and tilt your head back. And actually, I'm going to pull him back a little bit, just because you're a little too far. So go ahead and pull you, tilt your head back. So again, like I said again before, we want to make sure that our central ray is perpendicular to the IOML. So we're good there. Kind of tilt this head just a bit more. So I'm going to close your eyes. Our central is our gonian. So wrap the throat there. I'm going to just kind of move them. Actually, we're going to kind of get you forward a bit and a little farther back. Tilt your head back a little bit more, okay? So I'm going to pull this chair out a little farther. Can you come back a little bit more for me? That's better. So again, central is at the gonian. We just want to make sure we are lined up with our bucky. We got good marker placement still. Come over just a bit there. And IOML is parallel as possible to the IR. And the mid-sagittal plane is perpendicular to the IR. So again, now we're going to kind of up our technique a bit from about 85 to a 20 to 32 mass. So it's a little, just go up quite a bit. Again, I was going to kind of reposition a little bit. Our patient moved a little bit. Looks good there. So, Mr. Wong, hold your breath. X-ray. Yeah, okay, Mr. Wong, you can go ahead and relax. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at these images. But those are our 4 images for our cranium. And we are done. Now that we've finished our images, we can go ahead and evaluate what we've taken. Starting with the lateral, first we want to see entire cranium without rotation or tilt. And that's demonstrated by the orbital roots superimposed on top of each other, as well as the greater wings of the sphenoid are superimposed. Also, the EAM, the mastoid regions, and the temporomandibular joints are all superimposed. So we have the EAM, which is superimposed, shows no rotation. Mastoid regions, all superimposed. And we also want to see that there's no overlap of the cervical spine by the mandible, so meaning that we are able to get the chin nice and out of the way and extended. Moving on to our second image, which would have been our PA axial projection. Again, entire cranium, no rotation or tilt. And this again is demonstrated by equal distance from lateral borders of the skull, so we got a good equal distance. Also equal distance of the orbits on both sides. Also we want to see symmetric petrous ridges, so these are here. With our Caldwell method with the 15-degree angle, that demonstrates the petrous ridges in the lower 1/3 of the orbit. And if we were to do no angle and it was just a straight perpendicular central ray, we would see the petrous ridges filling the orbits, as demonstrated in this picture here. So moving on to our AP axial projection, or our Town method. Again, we want to see proper collimation, just like on all our images, and that's a good border. Again, cranium without rotation or tilt. Again, equal distance lateral borders of the skull, as well as the equal distance of the foramen magnum on both sides. So as our foramen magnum, we want to make sure that we have good equal distance on that side. Symmetric petrous ridges here. Again, no rotation. And also we want to see that the dorsum sella is visible within the foramen magnum, showing that we got a good angle. The mid-sagittal plane of the cranium is aligned with the long axis here, so we can see that. And that's the long axis of the collimated field of our IR. And also we want to see good penetration of the occipital bone with the appropriate brightness at the lower lateral border. So here's our occipital bone, and we got good brightness here. For our last image, our SMV, or submental vertical projection, or again the Schuler method. Again, no rotation, proper collimation, and we also want, and that's evident by equal distance of the lateral borders of the skull to the mandibular condyles, which are here and here. So again, a good equal distance in between there. And also we want to have good evidence of the IML being parallel to the IR, and that's from the mental protuberance superimposed over the frontal bone. So again, here the mental protuberance would be superimposed over the frontal bone. Also, we want to see the mandibular condyles are anterior to the petrossae. So our mandibular condyles here, and the petrossae would be in this area here. So mandibular condyle, petrossae, good. You get good equal distance, and that's anterior to those. Again, brightness and contrast demonstrated by good cranial anatomy. So we got good brightness and contrast there. So those are our 4 images and our 4 evaluations of the images.